Dear student friends, myself Dr. Riaz, pursuing PhD degree in the Department of Education, Kakatiya University, Warangal. On behalf of RAMAIAH Coaching Center of Hyderabad, today I want to present my analysis regarding C-TET examination system as well as syllabus pattern. Particularly, my focus is on child development and pedagogy. Friends, we know teacher profession is noble profession. In this profession, we are going to channelize knowledge from one generation to another generation. To maintain quality for the better national building, the central government as well as state governments have been conducting teacher eligibility test. We know at a central level we have C-TET. Today I am going to focus on what is the syllabus regarding C-TET, child development and pedagogy paper, how to understand the syllabus, how to apply our knowledge to gain success, as well as what are the important books to know regarding to understand the syllabus. I appeal all of students community that if you are strongly decided to continue your preparation to get C-TET success, try to understand this analysis for your grand success. It is the fact to understand that the syllabus which is framed by National Council of Teacher Education to have qualifying for the primary sections, particularly up to 8th class teaching standards, they divided syllabus into two papers. One is paper 1, second is paper 2. The syllabus is same for paper 1 and paper 2, but we have to understand that the length of the questions, the levels of the questions, as well as the standard of the questions and application point of view of the questions are different for paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is meant for primary classes, that is up to 5th class, and paper 2 is meant for higher primary classes, that is basically 6th, 7th and 8th standard. So the students who have completed their diploma in education as well as bachelor degree of education, they want to get government jobs in different states as well as in different sectors under central government, and also in private schools also they need to pass this examination. I go according to the syllabus point to point carefully. Friends, the syllabus regarding child development and pedagogy categorically divided into three parts. In part A, they have given priority to child development, particularly the process of child growth and development and what are the learning experiences as a school teacher we have to provide. And if you go for basically part 2, that is regarding concept of inclusive education and understanding children with special needs. Now, this is very important concept to understand. And third, the foremost important point is here, that is learning and pedagogy. This is totally pedagogy process. So, you have to divide the total syllabus into three categories. A is for child development, B is for inclusive education, C is for basically pedagogy. Now we are basically going to understand these three phases, phase to phase and category to category. Friends, you know, education is perennial river. In the process of education, we have to understand that the dynamic structure of education basically structured on four pillars. One is philosophical foundation, second is sociological foundation, third is psychological foundation, the fourth is technological foundation. When you want to choose teaching as your profession, you want to become a good teacher or you want to become a quality teacher, first you have to understand these four bases. Our paper, that is child development and pedagogy, based on two important pillars. One is psychological foundations of education, second is sociological foundations of education with a special reference to pedagogy. So the entire syllabus structure is framed on four important pillars. One is philosophical pillar, second is sociological pillar, third is psychological pillar, fourth is technological pillar. Among these four pillars, they focused more and more on psychological foundations of education and sociological foundations of education. But we have to go to understand these foundations on the basis of the light of pedagogy. Now we are going to discuss the syllabus pattern one after one in detail. Friends, you have to understand that here they have given syllabus like this. You can find out this syllabus in Google search or any standard paper, and if you go through the notification, basically you have to understand the syllabus. Now the syllabus is basically like this. In part A, we have child development. Here primary school child means the child who appears is education process for class 1 to class 8. It means 6 years age group to the age of 14 years. So here you have to understand this. Here they have given the syllabus in different levels. Concept of development and its relationship with learning. Principles of development of child. Influence by heredity and environment. Socialization process, and explained by different psychologists and sociologists. The concept of the modern education, which is child-centered and progressive education. Critical perspective of the construction of intelligence. Multi-dimensions of intelligence and language and thoughts. Here the gender and gender construction, the gender roles, and also what are the sociological differences are here, what is language difference, caste, gender, community, religion and regions, how they impact on a child, and also why we can have that learning is a continuous process, what is assessment, what is comprehensive assessment in the process of continuous and formative assessment stages, and also how a learner can promote is critical thinking, and what is classroom assessment, and how we can go with its achievements. This is the basic syllabus of part A. Friends, in this part A, you have to understand that the total syllabus what they have given here, it is based on two important things. One is how child basically get growth and development. In what are the different stages of growth and development, what are the natural principles are meant for growth and development, and at the time of this growth and development, what are the learning experiences we have to provide. What is the role of a teacher? What is the role of a curriculum? What is the role of a school? What is the role of the education system? So by knowing all these things, you have to understand child. Particularly, the process of socialization is very, very important to understand child psychology as well as child sociological process. So here, in the process of socialization, how teacher, parents, peers have play their role to influence children. We can understand these things with the constructive thoughts of Jean Piaget, Kohlberg and Vygotsky. Friends, you have to understand that there is a lot of research is going entire the world to understand child psychology, because previously education center point was teacher centric. In the medieval period, education center point was textbook orientation, but in the modern period, the education center point is child centric. So we have to understand the child from different dimensions. Because of these issues, by having the understanding of these issues, we have to understand this syllabus. So here we have to understand child in a critical point of view, because every child has abnormal thinking, abnormal lifestyle. Sometimes some students and some children are basically normal and abnormal combination, and every children has normal tendencies, at the same time abnormal tendencies. We have to maintain the balance. The children are, some children are gifted, some children are having different dimensions because of their sociological and cultural dimensions. So in C-TET syllabus, particularly they mentioned these things regarding it, because friends, you have to understand that a child behaves normally, sometimes behaves abnormally because of his sociological, cultural dimensions. So we have to understand a child from his heredity dimension as well as his environment dimension. We have to understand a child from his language background, a caste background, sometimes religion background, sometimes community background, sometimes economically background, and sometimes his sociological approaches background. When you are understanding child from these backgrounds, you can have comprehensive understanding the child. When you are comprehensive understanding of a child in a novel way, when you made it, definitely you are going to give best learning experience to the child. Because of that, the total syllabus of this is maintained for it. So finally, in this part A, we focus regarding assessment. Now we are calling it as evaluation also. So in the process of evaluation, And process of assignment, that is a feedback of a child to you. On the basis of that feedback, you have to give learning experiences in different way to understand it. So the ultimate assessment center is the most important thing is classroom. So classroom assessment is also very important. Every teacher has to understand. Friends, finally for this part, I say that this part at the syllabus basically focusing on how to understand a child, how to understand child development. When you are going to assess a child, what are the learning experience you have to provide? When you are going to give learning experiences to a child, and how to know the feedback regarding it. By knowing all these factors, this syllabus is very important to understand. Now we are going for part 2. Friends, year B, that is concept of inclusive education and understanding children with special needs. Previously, there was a concept, there was understanding among the teachers that we have to teach for average students. In the classroom, there are 3 types of students are there. One are very brilliant, gifted children. Second are average. And third, basically, they are dullers. So we have to, when we address for average students, that is good for teaching. Generally, teachers have that type of notions, but that is absolutely not right. We have to address each and every child according to the present child-centric education, teaching, learning according to individual differences, because the life is different experiences and the world is with different contradictions. When you are going to address these contradictions, when you are going to address these contradictions, first you have to observe what are the differences among the individuals. So when you want to understand the sociological, the psychological, the physiological differences among the children, you can give best learning experiences to them, because it is totally child-centric education. In this child-centric education, you have to understand the child from different differences, different contradictions, and you have to involve all the children in common learning process according to their differences by getting importance. Now we are calling this education system as inclusive education. Now the inclusive education is a modern trend of the teacher education in worldwide, from Africa to America, from America to Asia, Asia to Australia, all the continents of the world where we are living, they are giving importance to this inclusive education. Friends, we have to understand that here we have some of the students, some of the children with some impairment in their learning difficulties, and we have to address learning difficulties. And talented students are there, creative students are there, special able learners are there, and also average students are there. Basically, students are with different learning abilities. Being a teacher, you have to understand their different learning abilities. According to their different learning abilities, you have to provide coaching, you have to provide education, you have to provide teaching to them, because the modern principle of learning is nothing but, the modern principle of teaching is nothing but teaching and learning according to individual differences. Teaching and learning according to individual differences, that is the basic thing of the present child-centric education. So in this concept, we are going to address that what are the learning difficulties are there, how these learning difficulties basically possessed by the children, whether they are natural, whether they are trainable, whether they are basically solvable. So when you are going to understand their learning abilities, then you are going to give learning experience to a child. So this is also, inclusive education is one of the very important part for it. And the most important, basically the different type of questions come from the third part, that is learning and pedagogy. Because the learning and pedagogy syllabus framed on the basis of classroom experiences. You see, here the syllabus is quite different for our traditional B.Ed and D.Ed courses. Here the syllabus basically saying that how children think and learn, why children fail to achieve success, what are learning activities, and what are different type of learning activities, and also why children make errors. Being a teacher, how you are going to correct it, and what is cognition and what are emotion, and how you are going to motivate children, what is external motivation and what is internal motivation, and also how to build best learning environment to the students, what is internal environment, what is external environment. These are the things we have to understand. So the third part basically focusing on the pedagogy part. In pedagogy part, being a teacher, you have to know different learning environments because you are the creator, you are the maker, you are the stage setter, you are the guide, you are the philosopher, you are the friend to give best pedagogical experience to the child. So here we are going to do it. And in our syllabus, NCF, National Curriculum Framework, which came under the leadership of Professor Ashpal, is also included. And in these lectures, I am going to cover NPE 2020, what we are calling as New Policy of Education, National Policy of Education, that is 2020. Because now we are going to face the challenges of the modern education, and this is the weapon, and this is the path, this is the tunnel, this is the bridge to understand the present challenges for overcome it. So we are going to mention regarding the new education policy or national education policy of 2020 also, because it is going to include our syllabus in future. Friends, finally, we have to understand that the child development and pedagogy, which is basically mentioned for 30 marks, and what we have to understand here, and every concept has its own question allotment also. For child development, that is psychological and sociological base for 15 marks, and also pedagogy for 10 marks, inclusive education 5 marks. This part 1, child development for 15 marks, 1-5, and inclusive education for 5 marks, and third, that is what we discussed, pedagogy for 10 marks. This is 30 marks syllabus what we are having. Friends, this is the syllabus. Now I am focused that what are the books are suitable for it. And finally I am going to focus that how to understand this syllabus and how to read the books and how to understand the basically concept of all these things. Now we are going to focus on the different books regarding it. Friends, actually there are no particular books for it, but the books what you read previously as a student of diploma in education, diploma in elementary education, as a student of bachelor education, that is BA, you already read books, that is paper 1, that is philosophical foundations and sociological foundations of education, paper 2, psychological foundations of education, and also school management books. These are useful books for you. Particularly you have to give priority to psychological foundations of books, because these books titles are different from state to state and sector to sector. So because of that I am broadly giving hint that what are the books you referred at your D.Ed stage, what are the books you referred for B.Ed at your B.Ed stage, that is academic books, academic syllabus orientation books, you have to go for that reading. So academic books which are related to child philosophical background, sociological background, psychological background, technological background, you have to refer. Particularly you have to give priority to psychological related books of education, pedagogy related books regarding our teaching process. So pedagogy as well as psychology books are most useful for you at the level of D.Ed if you are writing paper 1, at the level of B.Ed when you are writing the examination for paper 2. And you go through the previous question papers, and in my teaching I am going to give previous question papers details regarding it, and when I am taking a topic, when I am explaining regarding the topic, basically you have to go through these books also, and I give questions, examples, and the question papers are also available outside in Google search or in bookstalls. If you want to ask the previous question paper, they can give. Come to the point. First, you have to understand the syllabus. Understanding the syllabus makes you 25% of the success. Number 2, understanding the previous question papers. Understanding the previous question papers makes you success of remaining 25%. So 50% success can be possible through understanding the syllabus and understanding the question papers, and remaining 50% you can make so many efforts by having your own reading, by listening lectures, and also by reading by your own, by discussing with your fellow students and your seniors who are already got success regarding it. You can make all these things. Friends, you have to understand that to get certificate of C-TET basically makes you teacher at anywhere, not only in your basically belonging state. You can get opportunities in entire the country. Sometimes in international opportunities also they give priority to the qualification of quality examinations. So the C-TET passing is very, very important for your best career. And in C-TET syllabus, the child development and pedagogy is more important, because the paper of child development and pedagogy basically based on your intelligence and your spontaneous and your understanding capacities. So in the process of this RAMAIAH coaching centers, the process of lectures, you are going to learn all these things in detail. In my lecture, I am going to give details regarding the syllabus, and I am going to explain chapter after chapter, and also I take the examples of previous questions, and also I make you thorough to understand the process of the C-TET child development and pedagogy preparation. And I hope you can utilize this service in all India level, particularly in English medium. There are very few resources are there in the form of online coaching. Now in Hyderabad, this is the prominent institution, and the institution is the pioneer institution for teacher education, and it is a complete education institution for teacher education. I hope when you are going to listen all these things, definitely you are going to get best success regarding it. And from according to the syllabus, according to the previous questions, and I am going to explain the concept according to conceptual teaching and according to examination oriented teaching. And this effort of me and you basically can make you for the best achievement of your success. Thank you, one and all.